This is Spreadsheet Homeroom, short tutorials to turn your spreadsheeting into a superpower. Once you start working with formulas in large data sets, you'll find yourself filling down those formulas through many rows. There's a better way. In today's episode, you will experience the superpower of the array formula. I have pre-populated a formula using the ampersand for concatenate. If you're interested in how to use that concatenate function or the ampersand command, then check out my other video I made on concatenating. Now, once we have this formula, we want to fill that formula all the way down through the end of our data set, however many students you have in your school, for example. Of course, one way of doing this is clicking and dragging. That's just very tedious. It runs into a few other problems as well. So first of all, what if more students enroll in your school next year? Now there's no formulas past the end of your data for this year. Well, if you did want to fill down farther just in case, well, now you end up with the extra punctuation marks for blank cells. Another option for filling involves when your formula is connected to a data table. So in this case, we are immediately to the left or to the right of our data table itself. There's no columns in between. And if that is the case, you can double click on the blue dot and Sheets will recognize your data tables immediately nearby and fill down to the end that way. Same problem though, you have an issue with the punctuation mark showing up. What would be really nice is if we could just have one formula at the very beginning that does all of this rather than having to fill down into a formula every time we go. So let's do that. Instead of B2, we are going to type in B2 colon B. So that way we are referencing all of the students' last names. And you'll notice this goes through the end of the spreadsheet, not just through our data. So if there are new students here next year, this formula will include all of that data. C2 colon C and then A2 colon A. Finally, we will type in array formula at the beginning, the left parenthesis, and then close on the right side with the right parenthesis. So the array formula is going to look at all the values in B2 through B, all the values in C2 through C, and all the values A2 through A, and do this concatenating. Nice. You'll notice at the very end of our data set, however, we still have the punctuation marks. So let's add an if statement for that. Say at the very beginning inside the array formula, we'll say if A2 through A, so we're looking now at the ID numbers, if A2 through A is equal to blank, if it's empty, then just have an empty cell. Don't do this concatenating. So quote is an empty range, comma, an empty output, comma. We did include one more left parenthesis, so on the right side, let's close with the right parenthesis. Now, when you go to the very end, you'll notice that there is no more punctuation marks and there's no formulas here to fill down. Just one formula at the beginning takes care of everything. And then one final perk. Let's say I did decide, at the beginning of the ID numbers, I wanted to have a pound sign instead. I can enter that pound sign here just once, and that populates all the way through. I don't need to make a change and fill. For more content like this to supercharge your spreadsheeting, visit spreadsheetsforschools.com. And the next time you're working with data, remember, this looks like a job for super spreadsheets.